Okay, the next phase of our sport jet, Mercury Sport Jet 175. And what you see before you here is the wear ring that is in the jet propulsion unit. You're familiar with this if you've tuned into this video already. And so what are we doing? We're going to do a poor man's rebuild using JB Weld. If we look carefully here, we can see that we got some grooves and pitting and other damage inside there. Before I took it off, the tolerances between the impeller and this wear ring were not all that great. I mean, it was okay. But what we're going to do is, with the help of a squeegee, we're going to, put some more JB Weld in there, basically smooth things out, add a thin film. We're going to increase and improve our tolerances. Once we see things are beautiful, then later might send this out, get it machined, and get it sleeved. In some of the other jet units, different brands, there's actually a wearable sleeve that you could change out. Not so with the Mercury Sport Jet. And so, among other things we're going to do also is, if you haven't already addressed the tailpiece on this unit, that's the stator that carries the end of the shaft. We've got seals and grease in there, and it is not an uncommon thing for the grease to be gone and the shaft to self-destruct. So here's a note, I did not know this. We have a seal, which we might expect. That's what was in mine when I got it. It's the little spring in there. And so that seal is there, but that should be driven down deeper. And then there is a protector seal that goes over the top of that guides the shaft into the hole and keeps you from damaging the seal during installation. So if you haven't done it already, buy those two. They're expensive, they're available, but what's more expensive is to jack up a shaft or a stator and find yourself high and dry. Another thing that I did, the screws were all jacked up. They've been twisted on so many times and head screwed up. I went ahead and dropped the coin to buy those three guys, two for the main unit and then another one for the stator. But let me come back to this one. So I'm preparing right now. Like I say, we're using the marine weld, marine epoxy, and it says we've got a PSI strength in there of 5,020. Beautiful. It's 4 to 6 hours of set time. Going to give me enough time to stroke it out. And so it appears to be precisely what I need to do for our Disney production here. So I will get things mixed up and add to this video when we're doing the smear. Of course, this product is mixed up 50-50. I've got my cardboard out to do that on. I'll use the corner to stir it up, and then we will put the mixture on there. And what I love about this is that right at the top of the list, what will it bond to? Aluminum. So we are going to be able to have some sort of hope that yes, it will stick. So you might ask, what did Jim do to prepare this thing? With a drill and that brush. It's not a wire brush, it's a bristly brush, and anyway, did a great job of going up and down and doing that. I got off everything that I could. When I did the spray paint there, a little splatter got on there. I came back with choke cleaner and a scrub rag, Scotch-Brite, to get off the paint. And then I followed all that up with denatured alcohol, wiped everything down really well to be sure that I'm getting all the way down to clean aluminum, or clean enough anyway. And then I'm going to bank on the porosity of that and all the lines helping to grip the hand. And if for some reason this stuff gives up, it'll shred and go away, and then later, like I said, we get the sleeve. So, all right, there we are. There's the first half of the chapter. The second one's coming up. Okay, here we are. We are all mixed up. I did about a little more than half the tube. And so we're just going to start right here. I'll do this one-handed, but then I'm going to shut off the video so that I can do a better job of it. But there we go. We're just going to fill it up like that. There will be a thin smear when I get all done, and I will show you the finished product when we get done. Okay, here we are resuming description of our operation. So you can see here my finished product. You can see through it a little bit. We got a little bit of a film on there. You see a little unevenness right there. After it's all set up, I'll sand off a couple of little tips where they need to be. But by and large, we're in good shape. And then if you are familiar, behind that large plug right there is the water pickup that looks like a series of holes there. I'm going to have to clean those guys out. Might remove that plug. This is the where that water gets pushed up into the motor for cooling. So those holes definitely do not want to be plugged, and no crap left in this little 3 inches of chamber here. So I'll clean that out and be sure that I get all the debris out of that. A couple of things I wanted to talk about here is, if you don't know the purpose of an anode, become familiar with it. It's a sacrifice metal that gets ate up. And there's the one I took off the boat. And for $100, you can get one like this to put back on it. How about that? And so I picked that bugger up, and along with that included a bolt kit. So there's a bolt kit that comes with that. And so that is the bolts that obviously hold that on, holds on the stator and that kind of thing. Other fun things that I bought, my reverse gate chute was missing entirely, was not installed. It was in the boat. Anyway, these pivots are missing. I was able to buy new pivots, new gaskets. I should say not gaskets, bushings, plastic bushings for that. And so that's good shape. Here's a couple of other little anodes. Oh, watch out. These things will cause cancer in California. Don't eat them. Anyway, this is a small anode. There's two of them. One on the reverse chute bucket, as well as one in the steering mechanism. Also got a couple of O-rings. Only need one to go into that spot right there for the water. And the last O-ring that I purchased, oh yeah, there it is. This is the O-ring. Isn't that nice? Mercury's having that made in China for us. Anyway, there's the O-ring. Once it gets opened up, it goes into this slot all the way around. So I bought those just for grins and giggles. Anyway, so as I said, I used about a little more than half, maybe 2/3 of that tube. And what I discovered is when I was stroking that off in there, my squeegee here, you can see that it's about 3 inches wide, and that's more like 4.5 or 5. And so there was a problem with the laps. I used my drywalling skills and trick here, and so what I wanted to do was to show you what I do when you end up with a line like that. Okay, and so in the drywalling game, you would put on your first stripe, and you end up, or your second stripe, however many it takes, and then what I would do is come back over here and pick this up and flex just a little bit. Can you see me flex there just a little bit? And so by doing that, then you can come back and do something like that and wipe out that center ridge. Whoops, I got a little bit there, so now I come over and do the same thing. So now what I just did is I left that a little bit high in the center when I'm doing this. So you got to be careful that you don't leave 1/8 of an inch or something. That'd be bad. But to come in here and to do that kind of a stroke on the inside of that bugger, you can see now that it's basically pretty darn level. You got a little line in there because I probably picked up a little piece of crap off the bench here. But essentially, what you can do then is by stroking in one side, you know, if you go through one side of it and then you come back and do the other. I did the far side first and did the close side second so that I could come on this edge, pick up just a little bit and stroke it off. And as you can see, there's spots where you can see through it. So I'm confident that I haven't put it on too thick. And you see this groove that was cut in there deeply. I filled it in probably 90%. So I'm going to be happy with this. Like I said, this is a poor man's, and for $5.39 at the local hardware store, I bought the stuff, and here we are. And if this buys me a little time, great. And if we have to come back and redo it and do it upright with the machining, I'll spend the, I don't know, 3, 4, 6, 800. I don't know how much it costs to do that, and so I'm going to avoid that if possible. Might come back and do this again before that. Anyway, there we go. We have a product that is somewhere in the next 16 hours. This is going to set up and be ready to go back on the boat. Oh, the other thing that I did is I took a heavier rag, not the paper rag, but a cloth rag, and the denatured alcohol, and went by and washed off all of these surfaces here. Of course, we want to be careful that we don't get anything into the O-ring groove there. And then on the other side, we don't have an O-ring, but then I was careful to be sure that I didn't leave any in this shoulder, because that does set into the next piece. So anyway, there you are.